Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Kalica and you're going to be a slightly spicier person after watching this video. Rude to me and my family? No problem. Note, I'm Asian and from an Asian country, currently in the United States for school. I was having lunch with my mother, who is visiting me all the way from Asia, in a food court type place. We bought 2 dishes from 2 different vendors, and we're currently eating a dish from the first vendor while waiting for the second dish to be ready to pick up when this happened. A group of Asian tourists stormed the area where me and my mother were sitting. We were sitting on a rather large table that could easily fit 8. They sat on a table for 4 next to us and raised hell. It was clear they were looking around for a larger table, complete with pointing to different tables where people were eating and speaking very loudly. The other diners on our table left, and they quickly filled up the empty seats next to us. But it wasn't large enough, as they had a family of about 6, but clearly wanted more space to put all of their things. They had young children with them as well. Therefore, they started pointing at me and my mother while we were still in the middle of our lunch. They pointed to us and said in English, "We're going to sit there," as they spoke to the rest of their family. They kept staring at us while we ate, waiting for us to leave. In Asian culture, it's common to tag seats in crowded food courts while others are still eating at those seats. However, it's usually done more subtly and politely, maybe with a question of, "Hey, do you mind if I sit at your spot?" once the diners in question are just about to leave. At this point, I was pissed at how rude they were. I was in the middle of a nice lunch with my mum who came a long way from home, and these idiots were waiting for us to leave. About 20 minutes later, as we're standing up to leave and the family were clearly excited to finally get their seats, an older polite woman sitting at a nearby table politely and kindly asked me, "Hey, are you still using those seats at your table?" Me, realizing an amazing opportunity. "No, we're just about to leave actually. Do you need them?" "Yes, please." "Alright, how many do you need?" "Just 2 if that's okay." I quickly got a couple of chairs from the larger table and placed them at the polite lady's table, and she thanked me profusely. I answered with a quick, "No problem, anytime," and left without saying another word. As we left, my mother told me later that the rude family looked very confused at the fact that they lost chairs from their precious table, and polite lady, who seemed like she knew what was going on, was quietly laughing to herself after I gave her the chairs. Can't be bothered to use the toilets? Be prepared to get wet. I don't know if this belongs here. I live in the UK in a nice quaint countryside village, a stereotypically British one at that. I popped into the local petrol station to get some fuel and a snack. The petrol station has recently been bought by another company and had been completely renovated, and the main shop was now run by M&S, a fancy upper-class supermarket chain. All the facilities have been upgraded, including the toilets. The old toilet block was outside the old shop and was effing grim and dirty. There's also a coffee shop and a budget hotel on the same land. To access these, you need to drive through the petrol station and then drive across the exit road and into another car park. The exit road is a one-way road that links back to the entrance of the petrol station. The road is separated from the petrol station forecourt by a raised pavement. So, I drive into the petrol station and stop at the pumps to get some fuel and walk into the shop. While I'm getting something to eat, I notice that a white minibus pulls up and parks in the petrol station forecourt but parallel to the raised pavement. I go to the till to pay, and as the lady is scanning my stuff, I look outside. Out of this minibus pours what seems like 20 men, like way more than you'd expect a minibus to hold. It's basically like a clown car. But instead of heading towards the shop, they all start walking over the exit road. When you drive down the exit road, to your left there are lots of trees all down the side, and now there's just all these men pissing in the bushes, in full view of everyone in the petrol station. Now, we've all been caught short. Public toilets are rare in the UK, and sometimes on a long journey you have no choice but to pull over in a lay-by and find somewhere discreet. But we were at a petrol station which actually had nice and new toilet facilities, and these men couldn't be bothered to come over and use it. The lady at the till was annoyed and also pointed out that it was illegal and couldn't understand why they didn't just come in. She also lamented that the new tannoy system wasn't as loud as the old one, so they wouldn't hear her shouting at them, and that also their cameras didn't point at the right angle to see past the pumps in the forecourt. As I left, a couple of the men did come in. It looks as though they were also buying some food, so why they couldn't just come in and use the toilets, I don't know. I got into my car and drove out of the petrol station. Now, when the petrol station was renovated, for some reason they never bothered to fix a common problem with the exit road. The exit road was pretty wide, and when it rained, the left side would always flood, on the same side as these men were pissing. You could avoid this by driving closer to the middle without going into the wrong lane. It had been raining pretty hard earlier that day. While exiting the petrol station, I decided not to avoid the large puddle. I only mildly splashed the 5 or so men left still pissing. Like, enough to wet their ankles, not enough to soak them, but enough to give them a shock and be annoying. Totally petty of me, to be honest. They were an easy target and they were being gross. As I said at the start, I'm not completely sure this belongs here. Jackass sitting in my pre-booked seat? No problem. No problem at all. My country's trains have a slightly infamous issue with people wrongfully taking seats that have been reserved in advance. When you book a seat, and you always get to pick your seat when booking online, your name or reservation number, if you want to stay anonymous, gets displayed over your seat. There were some issues with the reservations not coming up properly, which eventually got resolved, but people got used to the chaos of having to duke it out to get your correct seat. In response, the railway company started introducing customer service agents. In reality, these staff are part ticket inspectors, part security. The story takes place about 1 week after these agents were introduced. So, I boarded my train, returning to the city I live in after visiting my family for the weekend. The train was about halfway along its route, and there was a lot of empty seats. This is important. When I arrived at my seat, my name was above it. I found it occupied by a dude about halfway through a 6-pack of beer. I told him that was my seat, and asked if he could move to one of the many unoccupied seats in the carriage. He refused, and started cursing me out, saying he got there first and I could sit in one of the unoccupied seats, generally being a bit of a bastard, throwing his empty cans out into the aisle. At this point, I could have given one of the customer service guys a heads up and have them persuade the guy to move to one of the empty seats, but honestly, that didn't feel satisfying enough. Cue the petty revenge. Looking above his head, I could see that the seat next to him was booked for 3 stops down the line. I also knew that 2 stops down the line was when most commuters got on the train. I plunked myself down in the other pre-booked seat, directly next to this dude rather than sitting in one of the unreserved seats. The jackass in my seat settled back down with his cheap beer and started blasting music from his phone. 2 stops down the line, the train fills up completely. Standing room only from then on. The stop after that, the lady who booked the seat I was currently sitting in got on. I explained the situation to her, and together we grabbed one of the customer service dudes. I got my seat, the lady got her seat, and Jackass got to stand outside the toilet for the 2 hours left in the journey. No one is home, go away! My petty revenge on my housemate's horrible girlfriend. I got petty revenge on my housemate's girlfriend a couple of times. This is one. All names have been changed. TLDR at the bottom. Okie dokie, on to the story. For about just over 3 years, I lived with 2 good friends of mine. Kenny, who I've known forever as our mums were best friends for many years, and his best mate Luke, who I met when I was in my late teens after moving to their town. All was well with our little house until Kenny started dating this horrible woman Karen who he had met at his workplace. Karen was very tall, almost 6 foot, and I'm 5'2". Disrespectful to almost everyone, very demanding, tended to be horribly loud and annoying when drunk, and to be completely honest, for a while I was a bit scared of her. A few months after they started dating, she talked him into buying her an engagement ring. So yay! Not. On Friday evening, she would make her way from work to our place to spend the weekend with Kenny, as she lived a 20-minute train ride from us, and due to now working in different places, she didn't get to see him during the week. After putting up with her for a while, I decided that on weekends I would pack some clothes on my laptop, a few DVDs, before Netflix, and spend the weekend at my mum's place a short distance away. We all lived in a small coastal town. She actually asked me once if it was because of her I would go to my mum's. Deer in headlights. I told her no, it was because I wanted to see my mum, which was mostly true. She bought that. But there were a few times when I didn't go to mum's, and here's where the petty revenge comes in. This happened one Friday, around the time the sun started to set. The way the house was positioned, if someone were to come up the driveway with the sun setting and the lounge blinds were closed, you could see a shadow against the blinds. This evening, I knew the guys wouldn't be home till very late, and not wanting to spend the evening with her alone, I made sure all the blinds in the lounge, bedroom's open area were closed, all doors and windows locked, and sat on my computer waiting. When I saw her shadow coming up the driveway, I turned my monitor off and hid behind the front door, watching through the peephole. She gets to the door, expecting it to be unlocked, but nope. So she starts banging on it very loudly and calling out, "Kenny, hello!" Bang, bang, bang. "Kenny, look, MP, hello!" Bang, bang, bang. Damn it! When I saw her make her way through the side gate and pass by the kitchen window, I went into the hallway that led to the bedrooms and stood there waiting for her to leave. She tried the back door. Kenny would sometimes leave it unlocked for her even if we weren't home. Then she actually tried the windows of Kenny and Luke's rooms and the laundry door too. Not having any luck trying all the doors again, she left after about 15 minutes. Yes, I was in the hallway the whole time. Knowing that when she got home she would call the house, I put the landline on silent. She rang several times and left several annoyed, progressively angry messages. I don't know if she called Kenny's mobile, he never said so. My guess is if she had, he ignored it. I did text him to tell him what I'd done, and his only response was, alright. He didn't and still doesn't like confrontation at all, and because of that it took him a long time to break up with her, mainly because he was genuinely concerned that she would either stab him or burn the house down with us in it. Thankfully she did neither, and just ignored Kenny and I. She had nothing against Luke. Okay, so that's all for r/PettyRevenge. I really hope you did enjoy it. As always, if you do want to see more content like this, then please do subscribe. My Twitter, Discord and Patreon links are in the description, and any support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!